Krishna. So when Brahmaji saw this, as it is just by seeing this, he was confused. He was amazed that what is this? What is going on here? Just amazed. And then, if this was not enough, as if he was not bamboozled enough, at that point, what did Krishna do? Each and every one of those boys and those calves manifested themselves as Vishnu forms. Suddenly, in front of Brahma's eyes, all the calves and Krishna, calves and the boys, the Gopa boys, manifested Vishnu forms. And it was not even as if, it was not even as if they were Vishnu Dutas. It is not even as if they were, residents of Vaikuntha whom Krishna, just quickly borrowed. You please come here and manifest, over here. No. They were actually forms of Vishnu. Because Brahmaji was able to see the Shrivatsa mark on each of their chests. So when he saw this, can you imagine at this moment if suddenly the whole crowd suddenly turns into Vishnu forms? The whole audience sitting here, if it just happens, what will happen, to you? As it is, you're confused by what has happened. You've seen those boys there, you've seen those boys here, and then suddenly all of them are getting transformed into Vishnu forms. And Brahmaji is, Vishnu in one sense is his not one sense, Vishnu is his father, is his creator. Brahmaji has come about from the lotus, flower which stems from the navel of Lord Vishnu. So, just imagine, what was Brahma's thought at that moment? He was completely aghast. He was completely shocked and aghast. What have I done? What a stupid thing did I do that I tried to challenge this person, Lord Krishna, who is not just the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is the source of all Vishnus. Krishna, he could have probably manifested as Krishna, as all those boys, but he manifested as Vishnu, and and Brahmaji was, when he saw this, he was all the more bewildered, because he was thinking that Krishna is, maybe he's an ordinary boy, maybe he's, okay, some empowered, maybe I'm not very sure. He was confused, which is why he did this. And when he saw this, when he saw all the Vishnu forms, he was completely devastated, completely confused, and now his confusion actually started going away. He started realizing that what have I done? What a big mistake I have done. And we should understand that here actually Krishna gives Brahma is trying to bewilder Krishna. He was trying to bewilder Krishna when he did this, when he kidnapped the boys and the calves. But Krishna actually gave it back to him with interest, as they say, Soot Samet, He didn't just, very lightly show him, that, okay, I'm in control here. He showed him that I'm not just in control here, you're so insignificant, you cannot do anything. You have to understand who is Brahma. Brahmaji is not any ordinary, person like you and me. Brahmaji is the supreme engineer, supreme world's greatest engineer, one of the most intelligent servants of the Lord. He is not having intelligence like us. His intelligence is extraordinary. For a person who has created this material world, who has created all the species of life, who has created all the planets and all the, all the life forms that exist within the planet, that coexist with each other so wonderfully, that, any engineer, I used to be an engineer, I'm not one anymore, but any engineer is very proud of the, the product that he creates. He creates a product using various raw materials, and he presents it to the market. But any engineer worth his salt knows this fact, that you cannot produce any machine or any product that is self-sustaining. It's not possible to create something that is self-sustaining, that on its own keeps on working. But Brahmaji is that kind of an engineer who has created a self-sustaining ecosystem. The human body itself is like a self-sustaining thing. If you cut your hand, you may put some medicine. Even if you don't put medicine, the body has a doctor inside, which automatically heals. The heart beating continuously, pumping blood throughout the body. Every second as we are speaking, the heart is pumping blood. As we are speaking, we are breathing in oxygen, breathing out carbon dioxide. It's just going on naturally, automatically. Who is making all this happen? Nobody. It's just happening automatically. What kind of brilliant creation is this? You know, while we breathe oxygen and we breathe out carbon dioxide, the plants very conveniently have been designed in such a manner that they breathe carbon dioxide and give out oxygen. Just imagine if that didn't happen. Just imagine. What a simple thing. That if Brahma made a small mistake, you know, I forgot to do this. Actually, even the plants consume oxygen and they breathe out carbon dioxide. The earth as we stand here would not exist beyond a few years. Within a few years, all the oxygen in the atmosphere would be used up. Isn't it amazing? What fantastic thought process must have gone into creating this. And what does the plant need to do all this? Sunlight, freely available. Water, freely available. And air, carbon dioxide. That's it. With all this very basic ingredients, entire material creation is being run. What a brilliant engineer. What a brilliant person Brahmaji is. And he is the knower of all the Vedas. He is the person who is, you know, the initial person to receive all knowledge. All Vedic knowledge was first received by Brahmaji. This is the person we are speaking about who got bewildered by Krishna. So, why did this happen? Why did Brahmaji get bewildered and why did Krishna do this? Because he became to some extent, a very small extent, he became a little puffed up. You know, Brahmaji, you can imagine, person, as I say, a beggar is proud of his penny. A person who has created such a fantastic creation, it is natural for him to be a little proud. So maybe he became a little puffed up. He said, okay, let me see, you know, this boy, ordinarily he's just, you know, stealing food from his, you know, Gopa friends and doing all kinds of ordinary, very ordinary activities, playing with boys and, you know, this, I'm not sure, let me just check, you know. And naturally a person who has great opulence, he tends to, you know, become a little proud. He tends to see, okay, let me show off a little bit in front of others. You know, if you have any opulence, anything, you know, most people don't like to keep that opulence to themselves. They like to show it off. You know, as once His Holiness Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj had once mentioned in a lecture, that all the happiness in this world, the source of happiness in this world is envy. You know, he had made this statement that the only source of any happiness, so-called happiness in this world, is envy. When I see that I have some opulence, I have some possession, I have some beauty, I have some ability to speak, I have some, you know, intelligence, whatever I have, the fact that somebody else is looking at me with envy in their eyes, you know, kya baat hai, you know, amazing. That is my source of happiness. If nobody is envious of what I have, then there is no happiness. And that envy comes about only when I have something more than somebody else. If that person has more than me, I don't feel happy. You know, so this is the unfortunate, you know, situation of everybody. We become puffed up with whatever little we have and we try to show it off so that we can be happy. And Krishna, Krishna can tolerate many faults of his devotees. You know, Brahma ultimately is a devotee of the Supreme Lord. He's one of the foremost devotees of the Supreme Lord. And Krishna can tolerate any faults, you know, of the 6 anarthas that we have: lust, anger, greed, envy, pride, and illusion. You know, at all times we are all inflicted by all of these anarthas. At all times. Practically, you know, they are just kind of alternating with each other. Sometimes it is lust, sometimes it is anger, sometimes it is greed, sometimes it is pride, sometimes it is illusion, and so on. These anarthas are constantly attacking us. But what upsets Krishna the most, especially in the case of his devotees, is pride. Krishna cannot tolerate if his devotee becomes proud. There are many instances of this. We can see, you know, in the Srimad Bhagavatam itself, there are so many examples of Indra. When Indra became pride, one beautiful Leela happened, Govardhan Leela happened. There are many more. Of course, Indra many times got humbled. You know, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, we hear many instances of Indra getting humbled. Brahmaji over here. We have the story of Prajapati Daksha, again a great servant of the Lord, a person who had been given a very, very significant service. Prajapati Daksha he's a progenitor, a person who creates, who creates progeny, who populates the earth with, with the human species. So, even Prajapati Daksha, when he became proud, through the pastime that was, it is there in the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, how Prajapati Daksha was also humbled. Not just that, even Bali Maharaj, Bali Maharaj, when he became proud, Vaman Dev appeared and crushed his pride. What to speak of all these devotees, even the gopis, the supreme, highest, standard of devotional service in this material, in this world, in this whole creation, the gopis, even when they became slightly proud for a moment, that Krishna is dancing only with me, he's only looking at me with love and affection. Moment they got that feeling of pride in their heart, immediately Krishna vanished from them. He vanished from their sight. And then they were so crushed by that moment that Lord Krishna has vanished, then immediately they started glorifying him, and then Krishna appeared again. So this is one thing that Krishna cannot tolerate. He cannot tolerate the pride of his devotees. And therefore, in this particular pastime, Brahma Vimohan Leela, Krishna actually crushes his pride and shows him that, Brahmaji, you may be creating so many things, but do not be proud of that. He showed him, really in one sense, who is the boss. In a similar situation, many of the scientists and atheists of this world are in a similar situation. They're all proud of all the things that they are creating, all the things that they're doing. Everyone is so proud of their achievements, that I've done this, I've done that, and they become so proud. And in that situation, in that pride, what happens? Naturally, because of pride, you tend to forget God. The atheists are actually denying the existence of God. But, and so often also scientists are denying the existence of God. But, Srila Prabhupada, in one of the future purports, he says, I'll just read, in a similar position are the scientists and philosophers who want to overcome the mystic power of Krishna. They challenge Krishna saying, what is God? We can do this and we can do that. But the more they challenge Krishna in this way, the more they are implicated in suffering. So even the challenging mode or the challenging attitude of these scientists and atheists who believe that God does not exist is actually in one sense a reciprocation of Krishna. It's Krishna reciprocating with their desire. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Sarvasya chaham hridhi sanivishto matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha. So from me comes smritir jnanam and apohanam. So memory, knowledge and forgetfulness. All memory comes from Krishna. If you want to remember Krishna, even for that remembrance, we need Krishna's mercy. All knowledge comes from Krishna. So even the great knowledge that the scientists are so proud about, the atheists are so proud about, they think that I know everything. All that is also coming ultimately from Krishna. And apohanam, even the forgetfulness. So Krishna is so merciful that if you want to forget him, a person who really wants to enjoy, sense gratification in the material world, it is very difficult to enjoy unbridled, uncontrolled sense gratification if you are a believer. If you believe in God, if you believe in the power of God, you believe in reincarnation, you believe in the science of the soul, it is very difficult to enjoy that way. So, for one who's got a very intense, there's a tivra ichha, intense desire to enjoy like this, Krishna reciprocates. Okay, you want to forget me? So be it. Tathastu. And he allows them to forget. So Krishna, even this attitude of people who are atheistic towards the Lord, it is wondrous. It is actually wonderful that how can somebody be atheistic? Even to be an atheist, it requires some tremendous conviction. Because there is so much evidence all around us. Across creation, forget creation, just look at your own body. There is so much evidence that the Supreme Lord is in control here. There is someone who has designed this whole thing, which means there is a designer. There is a creator. The whole universe is running by certain laws. When you put food in your mouth, it goes down. Imagine if it came up again. If there was no gravity. There is gravity, so it goes down. But that gravity inside the, inside the stomach, there is a mechanism to keep that food in its place for some time. Because if it was only gravity, it would go in and it would immediately come out. Just imagine, right? Moment you eat food, bang, it comes out immediately again. Like very small babies, it is like that sometimes. Very small newborn children, you feed them, the moment you feed them, everything comes out, right? Because their body is still not fully developed. But for a full grown, human or even animals, moment they eat, the food doesn't just come out. It stays inside for an appropriate time. Then it gets digested, gets converted into energy, mass, this mass getting converted into energy is such an amazing thing. Even till date, scientists are doing a lot of research on this, how to convert mass into energy, nuclear energy and so on and so forth. But this is being done by your body every day. Whatever food you're eating, whether it is healthy food or junk food, it is being converted into energy which is running your body every day, and all this is happening on its own. So, for any person with a real scientific bent of mind or a logical mind, it is impossible to accept that this is happening by chance, automatically. But they still believe that from the bottom of their heart. Why? Because it is Krishna's reciprocation with them. This example is that actually who gives them the intelligence and the resources and the strength? What are they doing? What are we all doing? In one sense, we are harnessing the mystic power of Krishna, whatever has been given by material nature. We are actually harnessing that, and with that power that has been given to us, with the resources that are available to us, with that we are doing all the activities that we are doing. But still we are unable to understand who is the creator, who is the source of all this. Like a cricketer, if you see a cricketer, who's batting, what does he need to perform? A great cricketer who's a icon, what does he need? He needs a bat, which is prepared in a very nice way. He needs great strength. He needs hand-eye coordination. He needs he needs great power, and so on and so forth. He can keep on practicing. But if even one of these things stops working, what happens? He keeps getting out. Why? Because now this hand-eye coordination is not so good anymore. The legs are not moving, the hands are not moving. So, in every field of life, you take any field, you take any service, you take anything, people are making garlands there. Those garlands also require tremendous coordination. For a person who's seeing it for the first time, so expertly, they just sometimes they're not even looking, they're just, just bang, bang, bang. There's one devotee over here who every time makes these diyas, diya ka, wick of the diya. Everyone who comes here would be knowing him. He just keeps on effortlessly making these wicks. For anyone of us to do it, it will take at least 15 minutes per wick. He makes one in about 10 seconds. He's so quick, over the years he's made it. So it's amazing what skills have been given to us. All of this comes from Krishna. So if we become proud of that, how foolish. How foolish for us to actually become proud of our puny ability, forgetting Krishna. If we really forget Krishna and become proud of our ability, Srila Prabhupada says, this is a sure sign of foolishness. And Krishna actually, therefore, he showed his mystic potency. Actually, Krishna's mystic potency is not just this, not just what we see in the material world, not just what he showed to Brahma. Actually, he bamboozled the most intelligent person in the universe, and his real potency, if you see some of the more extraordinary things that Krishna does, which actually nobody else can do. No other demigod, nobody can do this, what Krishna does. He actually expands as the super soul within everyone's heart. Isn't that amazing as well? That he is not just sitting there in Goloka, watching what's going on and passing judgments. No. He is actually expanding as the super soul. In everyone's heart, along with every soul, the super soul has expanded, and the super soul is the one who carries the intelligence, the desires of the living entity from one body to the other, the intelligence, everything is being carried by the super soul. What an amazing thing the Lord has done, that he has actually come with us in this material world. He's with us at every stage of our journey in this material planet. Besides that, what is it that Krishna can give that nobody else can give? He can give freedom from anxiety. Vaikuntha. It is only the Lord Krishna, who can actually free us completely from anxiety. He can give us liberation. He is the person who is Mukti Data, Mukunda. He is the one who is able to give liberation. No other demigod, nobody else can actually give that. Liberation is not available from anyone else. Only Krishna can give us that. Besides that, another he can actually give us the supreme most jewel, the supreme most valuable thing in the entire universe, that is Golokera Premadhana, Harinam Sankirtan. He actually gives us love. He gives us bhakti. He himself comes as Lord Chaitanya to give us this bhakti, to give us this eternal joy of living in the spiritual world, serving the Supreme Lord eternally, without any worries of birth, old age, disease and death. No anxiety, no worries, nothing. Just an eternal blissful life in the spiritual world, observing the beautiful form of Shri Radha Krishna, Shri Radha Gopinath, and serving them eternally. This wonderful opportunity nobody else can give us. So this is the ultimate gift. This is the ultimate potency that actually Krishna gives. We can be amazed, we can find Krishna in everything. Krishna says in the material world, Yad Yad Vibhuti Mat Sattvam. Wherever you see this Vibhuti, wherever you see this opulence, you see this wondrous creation, that should be an opportunity for you to remember Krishna. Whenever you see something beautiful, see someone very, very opulent, very amazing, it should be an opportunity for you to remember Krishna. But this is not really what Krishna is giving us. Krishna is actually giving us these gifts, these wonderful potencies he is making available to us. And like Brahmaji, we also need to come to the point, of understanding really how insignificant we really all are. Somehow in the process of devotional service, after coming to devotional service, being here for some years, we naturally develop little pride. Externally we show great humility, but internally somewhere the pride is there. Not somewhere, it is pretty much there, it's all over actually. And the moment somebody praises us, we become proud. We may show humility externally, but internally, as they say, laddu bhoot rahe, you feel very nice. Whatever service we are doing, naturally we tend to watch, ki sab dekh rahe na, अच्छे से कर रहा हूं, I'm doing nicely. It is so natural for us to become proud. But like Brahma, we should use in the future purports, it is mentioned that we should actually use this pastime, this Brahma Vimohan Leela, to really understand that if a person like Brahma, who is actually such a potent person, he is in the material universe, he is the highest person, period. There is nobody beyond Brahma in the material universe, nobody. He is the highest person, highest authority, longest lived, most competent, most intelligent, most everything. He is most of everything. In the material universe, there is nobody beyond Brahma, materially speaking. But if he understands that Krishna, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and in that consciousness he is offering these prayers in this chapter to the Lord, then what a lesson there is for all of us. What are we? We are so insignificant. We are so, we are nothing. So what is the lesson we can learn from this? We should learn from this that how we should also immediately, if you have not surrendered till this point, we may be following the process of devotional service, but we have not surrendered. What is the meaning of not surrendered? Which means we are still holding on, we are still holding on to our material attachments, not letting go. I remember once in school, we used to have one guy, who was very naughty in one sense, and he used to keep playing these pranks and something. So once he was, in front of the teacher, he was, he caught one guy's hand, another boy's hand, and he caught his hand and said, "Hey, chhod, mere ko, chhod, leave me, like that. He was holding his hand and saying, "Leave me." So teacher gets the impression that the other person is catching him and trying to, do something to him. But the reality is what? He is holding on to him, right? So our situation is very similar. You know, we may say that, oh, Maya has caught us, you know, I am in the grip of Maya, what to do, you know, I am so helpless, what to do. But actually, more than Maya catching us, we are holding on to Maya, saying, hey, chhod mere ko, chhod. We are holding on, for dear life, we are hanging on to Maya's lotus feet, and we are saying, please leave me. Actually, we have to let go. So surrendering means what? Letting go of Maya and surrendering to the lotus feet of Krishna. So we learn this lesson from this particular pastime, and in the purport it is mentioned that actually, so in this chapter, actually Brahma acknowledges the opulence of Krishna. You know, in one of the future verses, he actually says that what is my opulence? Who am I? You know, as as it is said, Sanatana Goswami, Ke Ami, who am I? You know, and he says that I have just about created this one universe, you know, created whatever, done some creation work in this one universe, of which all raw materials are provided by material nature, by Prakriti. You know, all I have done is created this one universe. But you, my Lord, are so wonderful that universes are streaming out of your body like dust particles through a filtered window. What a beautiful analogy, you know. He says, like, if you have seen sometimes, you know, when in the early morning, if you have a window which has got this jali, you see dust particles, with the sun rays you can see the dust particles streaming through. As many billions of dust particles are streaming through, like that universes are sprouting from not even Krishna, an expansion of the expansion of expansion of Krishna. So Brahmaji at that moment, he understands and he says, my Lord, you know, who am I? I am such an insignificant person. Please forgive me for my foolishness. I didn't understand. For a moment I was bewildered. I could not understand who you are. And in this bewilderment I did what I did. And then in the purport it is mentioned how actually Brahmaji had just finished seeing innumerable forms of Vishnu. Right? Because, you know, Krishna had just manifested this form. You know, all the boys and the calves had taken the forms of Vishnu, and he had just finished seeing the Vishnu forms, who is his worshipable Lord. But in these prayers, he starts by glorifying the opulence of Krishna as a cowherd boy, as Gopal. You know, he actually says that he declared, it said here, he then declared that the original identity of sweetness of Krishna is even more difficult to comprehend than his opulence. So, you can imagine that one is all the opulence of Krishna. You know, that Krishna has all his opulence, he is the ultimate creator. He says, Bhoktaram Yagya Tapasam Sarva Loka Maheshwaram, that I am the enjoyer of all Yagya and Tapasya. I am the enjoyer of everything. And Sarva Loka Maheshwaram, I am the proprietor, controller of all material and spiritual worlds. So basically he's everything, he is control of everything. But Brahmaji says, this is difficult to understand, but more difficult to understand is your sweetness. That despite being the controller, despite being the proprietor of everything that exists, still there is unbelievable sweetness in your pastimes. You are still so sweet that you are able to come down to this material world and play, you know, play these pastimes along with your wonderful devotees like an ordinary child. This is even more difficult to understand. So Brahmaji therefore is actually surrendering to this beautiful form of Shyam Sundar Krishna, and he is glorifying the Lord in this form of Krishna. So that is the point that's mentioned in this purport. And you know, also it is mentioned that the opulence of Krishna, it is described that there are 4 opulences that Krishna has that are even surpassing the opulence of Lord Vishnu, Narayan, which is the Leela Madhuri, Prema Madhuri, Venu Madhuri and Rupa Madhuri. So Leela Madhuri means he performs extraordinary pastimes. Leela Purushottam, Krishna is known as Leela Purushottam. Beautiful, enchanting pastimes which win the hearts of the devotees and even the non-devotees. Even the non-devotees sometimes are enchanted by just seeing, but they're just not willing to accept. When they see, they are amazed, but they are not willing to accept. Leela Madhuri, Prema Madhuri or Bhakta Madhuri, which is, he is always surrounded by his loving devotees and he's always having pastimes with his devotees. Venu Madhuri, his beautiful flute. When Krishna plays the flute, it actually enchants the hearts of everybody. And it is described in Srimad Bhagavatam that when he plays his flute, things which are animate, when the fifth note of the flute he plays, things which are animate stop moving and things which are inanimate start moving. So the Yamuna stops flowing, the rocks start melting, the animals and the cows and all the people just stunned. They just stand there, and they are just watching with their eyes and ears. The cows are standing with their ears erect and they're just drinking in this beautiful sound that is coming. Venu Madhuri. And above all is Rupa Madhuri. The sheer beauty of Krishna is so unimaginable. So Brahmaji, when he has this opportunity to glorify the Lord, he has the opportunity to glorify Krishna, he starts by glorifying Rupa Madhuri. If you see, even in the Brahma Samhita, he speaks about the beauty of Krishna. Venum kvanantam aravinda dalayataksham barhavatam samashitam buddha sundarangam kandarpa koti kamaniya vishesha shobham govindam adipurusham tamaham bhajami. So he says that I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is adept on playing his flute, with blooming eyes like the lotus petals, with head bedecked with peacock feather, with a figure of beauty tinged with the hue of blue clouds, and his unique loveliness charming millions of cupids. So even the verse that we just read is a very similar description. It's the same person speaking, so he has that poetic license. He can change the words here and there a little bit. So beautiful prayers, the first one or two prayers that Brahmaji speaks in the Brahma Samhita, actually he starts by glorifying. He says, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. He starts with that, then there's few more prayers, and then after that his initial glorification, when it is described in the Brahma Samhita that he is initiated by hearing the Gayatri, and then he starts glorifying the Lord. This Brahma Samhita. And the first few prayers, he says this, he speaks about the beauty of Krishna. Alola Chandraka Vanmalya Vamsi Ratnangadam Pranakeli Kala Vilasam Shamam Tribanga Lalita Shamam Tribanga Lalitam Niyata Prakasham Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So he says, I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, around whose neck is swinging a garland of flowers, beautified with the moon locket, whose two hands are adorned with the flute and jeweled ornaments, who always revels in pastimes of love, whose graceful threefold bending form of Shyam Sundar is eternally manifest. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, also in the 9th canto, as a build-up to the 10th canto, just before the 10th canto starts, there are many beautiful verses describing the beauty of Krishna. I'll just read one of them. In the 9th canto, 24th chapter, 65th verse, it says, Krishna's face is decorated with ornaments such as earrings resembling sharks. His ears are beautiful, his cheeks are brilliant, and his smiling is attractive to everyone. Whoever sees Krishna sees a festival. Nityotsav, it is described in the verse, Nityotsav, that means a daily festival. When you see the Lord, sometimes, in Shri Radha Gopinath Mandir, we celebrate so many festivals, right? So whenever there's a festival, you will see there's more crowd in the temple, right? Normally, temple is full only, but in festival it is, as they say, khacha khach full, it's like, simply, dawa dawa ke people are there, thousands of devotees, and it is amazing, really. You see that in a festival in Shri Radha Gopinath Mandir, regardless of what time of the year it is, regardless of whether the, devotees are there or not, temple is always full on a festival. I remember once, like we have experienced now, recently there was, we had Govardhan Puja in the temple. All the devotees presumably had gone for the yatra, almost all, right? A large number, 3,000 devotees were there in the yatra, more than 3,000. But still, on Govardhan Puja day, temple was full. Full meaning there was a line going outside. There were thousands of people waiting in queue just to take darshan. So it might be demigods who are manifesting here just to take darshan of the Lord. But yes, on a festival, the temple is always full. But on other days it is reasonably full. But here it is being mentioned that when we take darshan of the beautiful form of the Lord, when we take darshan of Shri Krishna, it is Nityotsav, daily festival. Just by taking the darshan of the Supreme Lord. When we see Krishna, when we see Gopinath, it is actually a feast for the eyes. It is so beautiful. The darshan is so beautiful. It is a feast for the eyes. If only we had that consciousness. We don't. When we see the Lord, we think, nice, beautiful. But we don't have that consciousness. Our hearts are so dry. They are so filled with, anarthas. They are not able to really appreciate the beauty of the Lord. And that's what Brahmaji is speaking about over here. And he is glorifying this Rupa Madhuri of the Lord, and he's speaking about how how beautiful you are, and this beauty and these pastimes that you perform are so uncommon that I want to just be attracted to this feature of yours. He is definitely attracted to Lord Vishnu as well, but he is especially being attracted by this beautiful Sham Sundar feature of the Lord, and he is in this whole chapter offering beautiful prayers of surrender. So as devotees, we should also be having this consciousness of surrendering to Krishna, of having this attraction for Krishna. It is important for us, as devotees, we may be doing so many things. We are performing devotional service, we are chanting, we are doing services, we are doing so many things. But somehow, our attraction for Krishna is very superficial. We are not at that point like Brahma, who is, now completely surrendered, given up everything. He is saying, my Lord, please accept me, please accept my prayers. In this verse he says, I offer my humble obeisances and prayers just to please you. He wants to please the Lord by these prayers. So we should also be having this consciousness of being attracted to Krishna. Why should we be attracted? Why we need to consciously increase our attraction? Because unless we come to the point of pure devotional service, we may be performing devotional service, but till we come to that point of pure devotional service, we will always remain here. Because our devotional service today is tinged with so many things. It is tinged with jnana, it is tinged with karma mishra bhakti, so many things. We are still attracted to the things of the material world. Still attracted kya? It's not still attracted. That is our only attraction actually. We are not even, we don't have, as we say sometimes, in humility someone says something to you, oh Prabhu, you are so great, you are such a great devotee. And we say, no, I don't even have a tinge of devotion in my heart. I don't even have a drop, And we say it, other devotee says, no, Prabhuji, you are such a wonderful devotee. You are just being humble. Actually, it's not humble. It is not humility in any way. It is actually honesty. We really don't have. We really don't have any real love for Krishna. We don't have attraction for Krishna. Which is why we must make an attempt. Otherwise we will always be here. As long as you are in the material world, you will always be here. Because you are attracted to things over here. You are not letting go of Maya. So we will always be here. So we need to make that conscious effort. And unless we develop a desire, to be with Krishna, develop a desire to really be with Krishna and serve Him here in this life, in this lifetime itself, unless we develop a deep desire that I want to be with Krishna, I really want to serve you, my Lord, as George Harrison's song, that song is there, I really want to see you, I really want to serve you, I really want to love you. Unless we have at least somewhat that desire in our heart here, right now, not right now, but at least in this lifetime, if we don't develop that desire, how will we ever go back? And even if we go back to Godhead, by some chance, some Krishna somehow feels, chalo yaar, mercifully this person has done a lot, chalo, let's take him back. What will we do in the spiritual world? What are we going to go there and do? Because if you don't have this tendency to serve the Lord, you don't have this pure love for the Lord, then I am not attracted to things of the material world. They may come before me, but I don't want to be attracted to them. I want to be attracted only to the Lord. Unless we develop this consciousness, how will it come? How will we, really go back? So even Krishna wants this. He wants us to be attracted. He is manifesting here in the Archa Vigraha form, basically because he wants us to be attracted. He wants us. He tells us in his instructions in the Bhagavad Gita. He's telling us, Man mana bhava mad bhakto, become my devotee, think of me. He wants us to be attracted to him. He wants us to love him. So when we make this conscious effort to be attracted to Krishna, we must do this in this lifetime. We can't keep postponing it. We can't say that, okay, for now I will just chant Hare Krishna and wait, that someday my, bad habits will go away. Someday automatically I will start chanting attentively. Because of the power of the holy name, my inattention will go away. That's one more anartha. Amongst the 6 anarthas that I have, one more anartha is inattention. And by the chanting of the holy name, that anartha will also go away. No, it doesn't happen. We need to make a conscious effort. So what can we do to really increase our attraction for Krishna? So I remember once in one lecture, His Grace Gaurang Prabhu had mentioned that how does love develop in this world? How does love, let's say, he was giving an example, a love between a boy and girl, how does it develop? So you're saying that love develops through association. Through association, when people spend time with each other, they get to know each other. When they do things for each other, when they serve each other without, personal enjoyment at stake, when they serve each other and they spend time, quality time with each other, that is how love develops. Love doesn't develop by just, okay, I write something on Facebook, you reply to it and that's it, we are falling in love. No. Love develops by real love, true love. Of course, in the material world, love is always tinged with lust. But even if we take it out for a moment, he said love for two people, two individuals to really love each other, you need to actually spend time. So how can we develop love and attraction for Krishna? Same way, through prolonged hearing, through hearing the glories of Krishna. I remember again in one of the lectures, I think Gaurang Prabhu only had mentioned that who is this Sachin Tendulkar? Everyone knows, right? Everyone knows who is Sachin Tendulkar. Now, of course, there is a different whole side to him. But everyone knows Sachin Tendulkar. Why? Because from the time he made his debut in 1989, from that point, in fact, even before that, when he was in school itself, the newspapers were writing about him. So you keep on reading about him, keep on reading about him, keep on reading about him. And over a period of time, Dhyayato Visham Pumsam, Sangaste Upajayate, by keeping on associating with this thing, your attraction, by keeping on hearing about the glories of Sachin Tendulkar, your, attraction for him increases. You think, oh, what a wonderful player, kya khelta. You keep reading about it, and your attraction increases. Even if he plays a bad shot, you feel ki, no. It's just maybe momentary lapse of concentration, you are able to justify everything. Why? Because you have heard so many good things about him. So in the same way saying, if we constantly keep hearing about Krishna, we keep on Nityam Bhagavad Seva, that Nityam Bhagavad Seva is not, it's not a coincidence that it is there in the Bhagavatam. Because when we read Bhagavatam every day, when we hear Bhagavatam every day, we are actually associating with the book form of Krishna. Krishna is manifested as a Srimad Bhagavatam. Literary incarnation of Krishna as a Srimad Bhagavatam. When we associate with Krishna every day, when we hear Bhagavatam every day, through that association, prolonged association, by hearing Krishna's glories, by hearing about His beauty, by hearing about His compassion, His lovely compassionate nature. One of the, we say, right, the 64 qualities of Krishna, Rupa Goswami speaks about 64 qualities. The 50 qualities are those which are, even all human beings, all living entities have them in very limited measure. Then there are 5 more which are which are there with the demigods. Okay, like Brahma, Shiva, Indra, all of them have these 5 more. Much more quantity than all of us, but they have these 5 more qualities. And then there are 5 more qualities which only Narayan has. So Narayan Vishnu has these 60 qualities in complete measure. And one of those qualities actually is about this fact that Krishna, that he is so merciful that even if someone has come to kill him as an enemy, when Narayan kills his enemy, he liberates him. This is one of his qualities. Just imagine, it's like somebody comes to kill you and you let him go. You kill him and let him go, and you give him a much higher destination. That, okay, you have killed me, congratulations, now you can go to Vaikuntha. What kind of merciful nature is that? The Lord is so merciful that if someone's come to kill him, to attack him with great envy in his heart, still he is giving him the supreme benedictions. Congratulations, please go to Vaikuntha. What an amazing thing. So these uncommon qualities of the Lord, when we hear about them, we keep on hearing. By prolonged association and hearing, we develop attraction. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Mad Chitta Mad Gata Prana Bodhayanta Parasparam Katayantasya Mam Nityam Tushyanti Cha Ramanti Cha. By constant hearing, of the pastimes of the Lord, by taking satisfaction in pastimes of the Lord, we develop that love. Of course, it is said that Hare Nam Eva Kevalam Kalov Na Asteva Gatiranyatha. Actually, in Kali Yuga, there is no other way than chanting the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. So, actually speaking, while we may do everything else very nicely, unless we chant our rounds nicely, with intensity, with a deep desire that, my Lord, I want to please you. If we just apply a simple, very simple rule of thumb in our chanting, that at any moment, if you think, will this chanting please the Lord? What I am doing right now, will this please the Lord? If we are just conscious of this one thing, that will my chanting, will my behavior please the Lord? If the answer to that is no, automatically we will immediately correct our behavior, we will correct our chanting, we will chant attentively. Actually, there is no other way. If we chant intensely, when we are chanting our japa, we should chant with intensity. When there is sankirtan going on, we should not stand, at the back with our arms crossed and, saying that, okay, let others chant, let them dance. I will just observe. Quietly in my mind I will chant. No, we should be chanting with the highest amount of energy and enthusiasm that we can muster. Chant with great enthusiasm, chant with great energy. Because that chanting is purifying us. There is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way. When we chant like this, with that desire to, to serve the Lord, that desire, that effort, that enthusiasm, that sincerity that we show, that is what purifies us. That is what increases attraction. Observing the beauty of the Lord. When we come and take darshan, another thing to increase our attraction, when we come and take darshan of the Lord, you should see, actually when we take darshan, we should see how the devotees, the pure devotees, the senior devotees, how they take darshan. By just seeing that, we will be, you'll be amazed. If you see some of the disciples of Srila Prabhupada and, some of the senior devotees, how they take darshan. They are not just, very mechanically on the lotus feet to the waist to the face, lotus feet to the waist to the face, next deity, next. No, they are not saying, they are actually drinking in the beauty of the Lord with a very prayerful attitude. They are begging for the mercy of the Lord. In that mood, if with great intensity, if we are taking darshan of the Lord, very, very purifying. What to speak if you are actually serving, if you are doing deity worship, if you are worshipping deities, it's extremely purifying. There's another wonderful way to actually increase our attraction for the Lord and decrease our attraction for our own bodies. The more you serve the Lord, I remember in our deity worship seminars, Rupa Raghunath Prabhu had said that when you worship the Lord and you worship Him every day, especially in the temple, if you see 6 times a day there's a beautiful arti, nice bhoga is being prepared and offered to the Lord, then somewhere the realization comes that I am not the enjoyer, He is the enjoyer. Really, you keep on doing it day in and day out, you get this realization, He is the enjoyer, He is the Supreme Lord, He is the controller of everything. And that's how our attraction for Him increases. By serving and preaching, by whatever service we are doing, by preaching, we realize more of our insignificance. Otherwise, we are always thinking, that, I'm a good devotee. I'm chanting nicely, I'm doing my service, I'm doing everything. When we preach the Lord's glories, automatically we realize how insignificant we are, cannot even pronounce it. How insignificant we are. We understand, because you keep reading, when you read the scriptures, you understand your fallen position, the exalted position of the great devotees and of the Supreme Lord. We understand. I remember in one lecture, I think it was His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj had mentioned that whenever you feel proud about your devotional achievements, I have done something, kuch to kiya hai maine devotional life mein, I have managed to do something, you should immediately compare yourself with the Goswamis. I think it was going through, I'm not sure. You should compare yourself with the Goswamis, because if you see in terms of every quality, any quality, if you understand what austerity they were doing, what devotional service they were doing, what scholarship they had, what love for Krishna they had, in any aspect of devotional life, you see what they were, immediately humility comes back and you come back to ground zero. You understand, we are actually on ground zero. But by by preaching, by serving devotees, by serving Vaishnavas in whatever insignificant way we can, we understand the glories of Krishna, we understand the glories of Vaishnavas. Through visiting dhams, and hearing Krishna's pastime, a lot of devotees are, I think, just coming back from Mayapur Dham. I could not make it also. But by visiting a dham and hearing Krishna's pastimes, hearing his glories in a dham, that is another very potent way of increasing our attraction for Krishna, increasing our faith in Krishna. Our faith is there, but that faith becomes strengthened because you are in that dham, in that sthali where that pastime has occurred. And there, when you hear that pastime, it increases your love and attraction. And finally, of course, Srimati Radharani, she is the giver, she is the donor in one sense. She donates. Nothing in related to Krishna Prem can come by our own efforts. It is Srimati Radharani, through her mercy she donates, she gives. So we need to beg at the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani that please give us this attraction for Krishna, which will keep us rooted to the devotional service. We need to be rooted to devotional service. We should pray to Srimati Radharani to give us that consciousness by which we will always be attracted to Krishna, not be bewildered by either our own potency or by the potency displayed by many people in the material world. We can be bewildered by anything. By this prayerful attitude, by increasing our attraction for Krishna, by praying like how Brahmaji prayed, we can also achieve the same thing that Brahmaji is doing here. He has understood, he has got this realization, and he is saying that no more, my Lord, I do not now want to do anything else, I just want to surrender at your lotus feet. So just summarize quickly, we discussed in this, how in this particular pastime, Brahma Vimohan Leela, Krishna actually crushes the pride of Brahma, who is the original creator, the most intelligent person in the universe, and how we can learn from that how insignificant we really are. That Krishna is so significant. Forget Krishna, even his devotees are so much better than me. I am so fallen. We can realize our fallen position, and like Brahmaji, we can surrender, understand that Krishna's real potency is not even in what we see around us. It is in his very merciful nature to take us back to Godhead. In our fallen condition, he is taking us back to Godhead and giving us eternal residence with him. Beautiful, loving, devotional service to him in the spiritual world. This is his greatest mercy, and we can realize this if we constantly make efforts through our devotional service, intensify whatever we are doing to increase our attraction for Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.